Hi, my name is Gregg Braden. I'd like to talk to you about my new book, The Spontaneous Healing of Belief, Shattering the Paradigm of False Limits. So I was writing my 2007 release, The Divine Matrix. We touched on so many points that could have been a book unto themselves, each point. And I didn't want the information to get buried in a footnote or a sideline in the Divine Matrix. And this book, The Spontaneous Healing of Belief, is one of those points. Almost universally, ancient texts and traditions say to us that there is a power that lives within each of us, that we are born into this world with the ability to somehow heal our own bodies, influence the world around us, to bring peace to our families, to our communities, and ultimately between nations. On the one hand, and on the other hand, the great spiritual mystery is how we find that power. How do we implement it in our lives? Well, what we know is that a growing number of mainstream scientists are now beginning to suggest that our entire universe works very similar to the way a computer works, except our universe now is believed to be based in consciousness. Consciousness is the language that allows this universe of ours to work the way it works. And just as every computer language has a program that allows it to get things done, our consciousness computer of the universe appears to work precisely the same way, and it's the power of our belief. The power of belief that literally rearranges the stuff, the atoms and the molecules that our world is made of to create the conditions of our romances, of our abundance, of our healing, of our peace, the success of our careers. So as different as these things all appear from one another, they're all linked through this language, this inner power of belief. I was trained as a scientist, and my training requires me to see proof when something that sounds almost too good to be true is stated as a fact. And for me, when I began to hear that simply by changing the way we feel could somehow not only change what happens inside of our bodies, but literally rearrange the atoms of the stuff our physical world is made of, I said, I'd like to believe that, and I'd like to see some proof. And lo and behold, our own scientists now have found this proof. They know it's there. There is no disagreement as to the fact that we interact with our physical world. The question, the controversy, is how much, to what degree. What we know is this, is everything is made of energy. You all have heard that before. I've heard that. We've all heard that for years. But we're only beginning to understand now is that it is our hearts, the human heart, that creates fields of energy, the same energy that everything else is made of. And the fields that are created inside of our hearts extend far beyond our bodies into the world around us. So literally, this is not a metaphor and this is not wishful thinking, but literally when we change the way we feel and what we believe about our feelings and our hearts, what we're doing is we're changing the electrical and the magnetic fields that touch the world around us and rearrange the stuff our universe is made of, and that is the secret of the ancients. This is the great spiritual mystery that yogis lived in caves for centuries to understand, and we don't have to do that. We don't have to give up everything that we love and seclude ourselves in a monastery or a cave to bring this very powerful wisdom to bear upon our lives, because it's very plain, it's very easy, it's very simple. In easy-to-understand science, through many true life stories, case histories, I've found this is the best way to share this power in our lives, because we've all had experiences with this power before. Maybe we're only beginning to recognize what it is that it really says to us. If the universe in fact works like a massive, unimaginably huge consciousness computer, and if belief really is the program that allows our consciousness computer to do what it does, to create the conditions and the situations and the circumstances in the world around us, and the healing in our bodies, the abundance in our lives, and all the things that are important to us every day. If that's true, then as with any computer, if you know the code, you know what the limits are of your capabilities. If we understand the code of human belief, suddenly we begin to understand that we are no longer bound. We're not limited by the laws of physics, at least as we know those laws today. We can transcend the laws that say we're separate from everything around us. We can transcend the laws that say that time and space are barriers between us and our relationships and the people that we love and hold dear. We can transcend the laws of aging. We can transcend the laws that tell us that we are limited in this world. And when we begin to do that, everything changes. When our civilization really begins to understand, when they really get what it is that our own science now is describing in the modern language that we understand, the scientific language, and how this dovetails with our most cherished and spiritual traditions, everything changes. Because it says we are no longer limited by anything other than the beliefs, the false limits of the beliefs of our conditioning from our past, our culture, our friends, our family, our subconscious beliefs. When we really begin to understand how these work and what they mean in our lives, everything changes, and that is when each of us has the opportunity to shatter our personal paradigm of false limits.